So big 40k and Kill Team reveals today. We've got Tempestus Aquilons, entirely new units to go alongside the Tempestus Scions with some really funky kit, new Vespid Stingwings in a big squad with 3 special weapons and a stealth operative, some fun new ruins terrain, and a new edition of Kill Team with a solo and co-op play mode. Let's talk about the contents of the Kill Team Hivestorm box. Hello and welcome back to Warspecs Tactics, where today we're talking about Kill Team Hivestorm, the big box set that Games Workshop has been building up to the release of for a few weeks now, giving us snippets of lore about the Tempestus Scions and the Vespid Stingwings closing in on a great big gunfight, then some animated teasers, a fairly fun and hard-hitting short animation yesterday, and now finally the full box reveal, which I feel like is probably going to be at least a fairly popular one for 40k and Kill Team fans. This was all shared on their recent preview, Operation Hivestorm, a shortish preview where they talked through a bunch of details about the new game, and kind of as I was loosely expecting, it was a new edition of Kill Team. I did make a speculation video that there might be a new edition earlier in the year. It looks like they're going for a similar sort of idea of 3 yearly editions as they do with Age of Sigmar and 40k. Kind of a big deal if you play Kill Team. All the factions would have new rules, free to download apparently, a hard reset of the game, and then back into their 1 yearly seasons as they've been doing prior to this. Unusually for Games Workshop, they even gave us a release date for this. The pre-order date will be in September, so likely towards the end of it, as the full release is in October, 2 weeks after the pre-order date as per normal. Not 100% confirmed on the dates of that, but I guess it means that pre-orders go live in one of the last 2 weekends of September for guarantees. The Kill Team Hivestorm box does look like a pretty fun one though. In the box set, there's Tempestus Aquilons, a team of 10 of them, plus their pet servo turrets, 10 Vespid Stingwings, alongside their new gear, and a fun new drone as well. Really quite a generous amount of ruined city terrain, which I think will be an attraction to the box for some people, the Kill Team manuals and tokens, and a few fun Kill Team physical assets for things like barricades and ladders and things that you can equip your squads with. Compared with the other Kill Team box sets, I'd guess the price is going to be a fair bit higher given that there's more terrain in it at very least. Maybe in the region of £110 or $175 if we look at previous ones, though perhaps it could be more like 40k Battle Force kind of prices. In any case, I'm sure to be interesting to a few people. I do think that the idea of doing co-op play Kill Team does sound pretty fun. I'll talk a little bit more about the very vague rules teasers that they gave at the end. Starting off though, let's look at all the new stuff, and first up we have the Tempestus Aquilons. These are the grav chute wearing Tempestus Scions that we've seen in the trailers already, and also Games Workshop leaked a few models of them early. Apparently these guys are a special wing of the Tempestus Scions, not necessarily superior to standard Scions, but just particularly expert masters of drop warfare. The jetpack style things on the back are indeed grav chutes, and as the trailer might imply, it did look a bit more like they're probably going to be more for drop-in type things as opposed to full-on guard jump infantry, as lots of people expected when we saw the pictures of them. Beyond that, their war gear isn't enormously different to the standard issue Tempestus Scions, though there are a few funky Kill Team operative type things. The majority of them are armed with hotshot las carbines, so a little bit different to the hotshot las guns. They've got smaller sort of even more assault versions of the melter and plasma gun called melter and plasma carbines, a sentry turret that can be equipped with a hotshot volley gun, a flamer or grenade launcher, and a few options for operatives with hotshot pistols like this grenadier guy here. It appears that they will be coming as a squad of 10, and I guess that might be the only way that you might be able to field them when they get their 40k datasheets. The Kazakh can come in a box 10, and the guard often work in 10s, so it might be that you're only able to field these guys in a squad of 10, no more, no less. I guess we'll see when they get their 40k rules though, which might be a fair bit down the pipeline. This preview of course mainly focused on Kill Team sort of things. It sounded like their mechanics were kind of fun for Kill Team, an idea of placing a bunch of drop markers with the enemy not knowing exactly which ones you were going to trigger and bring down your Scions on. Looking through the miniatures that they'd showed off, first up we have the Tempestor on the left, set up like the one with the power sword and the hotshot las pistol as per the trailer. They'd be the squad's commander, and looks like there are some options for different heads. A few of them have bare heads versus the more standard Scion helms, and for the most part their other gear and armour besides the sort of rocket pack grav chutes on the back is at least fairly similar to the regular Scions. They still have the slightly ornamental plate bits on their chest plates and things. I do quite like the colour scheme for these guys though. Then we've got one equipped as a gunfighter who's got 2 hotshot las pistols there, and one guy equipped as a marksman. Looks like he's got a slightly longer barreled hotshot las gun there. It's got 3 of the little markings on the side rather than 2, plus a scope. I guess it might get the similar sort of hotshot sniper type special rules as per the Kazakin squad. Then for the other special ones, there's one called a Precursor who has a dagger and pistol. I kind of feel like that one might be a bit more relevant to Kill Team than 40k play. A Grenadier with a melter bomb and a hotshot las pistol might just be representing the grenade stratagem there, though occasionally they have special rules for grenade profiles. I guess perhaps they could counter the demo charge, but I'd guess probably not. And then they've got gunners with these slightly slimmed down melter guns and plasma guns, melter carbines and plasma carbines technically, I guess. Don't know exactly what the rules will be for them. Maybe gaining the assault keyword at the expense of shorter range or something, I'm not sure. For the rest of the squad, we've got standard guys with hotshot las carbines, most of them not having the power packs plugged into the backpacks, many sporting big batteries instead, and quite a few of them looking like they're dropping down from the sky in one way or another, though the majority of them are ground bound and often standing on some ruined Volcus, rubble and machinery sort of terrain. Then finally, to add another little bit of heavy firepower to the squad, there's a servo sentry in the unit. We saw this little guy in the reveal trailer where it made short work of a bunch of pathfinders with a hotshot volley gun. It looks like in addition to the hotshot volley gun, you've got the option for a flamethrower and a grenade launcher as well. Should be good for a little bit more special weapon threat, I guess. Overall, looks pretty fun. I feel like people have had a generally pretty favourable impression of these guys. I think it's quite nice that it looks like they won't be outright replacing the standard Tempestus Aquilons and just a unit to go alongside. Can't help but feel that they're operating in a really quite similar way though. It's not like you couldn't deep strike with the last ones. I wonder if we'll get any changes in roles or anything when the Codex comes around. I guess if these guys are the more notable grav drop squad, maybe these guys would keep deep strike and the other ones might lose it. All speculation at this point, of course. In any case, we'll be fun to see the 40k datasheet for them. Looks like the Guard are going to have another interesting drop threat. It'd be quite cool if they did give them some sort of other interesting special rule. Maybe they could have some sort of drop close option like the Space Marine Inceptors or something like that. Otherwise though, for the unit that we hadn't seen leaked up to now, next we have the Vespid Stingwings. These guys again were kind of poorly kept secret, particularly after they hinted them and then teased them. Alien auxiliaries of the Tau Empire, hailing from a great big gas giant, the Ethereals made contact with them and seemed to have bolted some slightly shadowy communion helms onto some of the leaders for them, and since then the Vespid have been overly eager to help out with the Tau Empire, or of their own free will, I'm sure. They're an update on some classic miniatures from around about 20 years ago. Felt like it was a high time for them to get an update, particularly with the rest of the crew being redone earlier in the year. The previous squad was a set of 5 of them with neutron blasters. Now there's going to be a squad of 10 of them, and they're joined by an oversight drone to go alongside. And it looks like you get 3 different special weapons within the unit as well. For special weapons, you get a rail rifle, a Tau flamer of some sort, and a pulse grenade launcher. There's a stealth Vespid called a Shade Strain, the MV-44 oversight drone, and the Strain leader. And for the Kill Team release, they've all been repainted in a very snazzy shade of orange. Quite a nice shake up on the previous blue from other artwork. Taking a look at the models, and first up we have the rank and file Vespid. These ones are denoted as Vespid Warriors. They carry the neutron blaster, which tends to be quite good at slaying space marines, devastating radioactive crystal things drawn from their homeworld. I think they've done pretty well with the update on the whole. Nice winged insectoid miniatures that keep a similar sort of feel of the last ones. I feel like the older kits certainly were miniatures of a much more retro age. It's really quite cool to see them reinterpreted with modern plastics now. They look a lot more dynamic, I think. I feel like their wings look a bit more functional as well. I'd guess they'd be buzzing really quite fast as they flit around the battlefield, a bit like in the Kill Team trailer. Otherwise, we've got a whole bunch of the specialists. On the left, we've got one called the Sky Blast, which looks like it's the pulse grenade launcher that was the one that was blowing up the barrels in the Kill Team trailer. Then we've got the Strain Leader, which has the Communion Helm, essentially the unit's sergeant, and apparently if you play Kill Team with them, they get some sort of system of Communion points, basically representing the Tau operator sort of controlling the Vespid team and sending their insectoid allies, who might not have all that much choice in the alliance, into battle. Then again, notable from the reveal trailer is the Long Sting. He's the one who's armed with the rail rifle, so the Vespid are going to be a little bit more of a threat to tanks and armour, I guess. And then finally, there's a Swarm Guard, which I believe is carrying a Tau Flamer sort of thing. I don't know if it's just a standard pattern one or one that's slightly altered for the Vespid's purposes. Finally, maybe one of the most interesting was that there's one called a Shade Strain. This one's donning some Tau stealth suit style technology, and apparently in Kill Team he can kind of go invisible for a bit. Not sure if he's particularly going to translate his way into 40k rules in any big way. Maybe he could have some sort of once per game special rule like giving the squad cover or something. In any case, kind of fun to see a Vespid donning a sort of stealth suit technology type thing. Finally, we've got the Oversight Drone. I wonder if from its name it's sort of aimed to sort of corral and direct the Vespid if they're being directed from afar by the Tau. Given these sort of upgrades and how they're translated to 40k in the past, they've often been things like once per game ignores cover or similar. If that's the case, then that could be quite a big deal. If they're firing away with their neutron blasters, that could be a big buff against things like Space Marines. As far as miniature updates go, I think they've done pretty well with these. The previous ones were just kind of static, insectoid aliens holding guns and just standing in the same sort of pose. A lot of these have a lot more movement to them and just look a lot more modern and menacing in general. I feel like as updates go, they're nice enough. Finally, here's one big squad of them all together. I kind of wonder for 40k rules if again they might be locked into a squad of 10 of them as the Pathfinders were. Might mean that they could have a different sort of role within the Tau Codex. I guess at the moment they're often more used for very small units dropping in to do secondaries and things. I guess if you're committing to really quite a big unit, that wouldn't be quite as good a niche for them now. They'd actually have to rely on their damage output to be worth it. In any case, nice to see the Tau Auxiliaries being updated. It was something that Games Workshop really needed to get around to for quite a long time. It looks like they decided that 2024 was the time from the early 2000s when they first came out. Otherwise, in the box set, I feel like quite a lot of people might have some good interest in the terrain that's coming out. This one's at least what I'd consider a fairly standard bit of Warhammer 40k ruins. A couple of corner pieces and a couple of more intact buildings with sort of bombed out barricade type things. As it goes, I feel like this looks like fairly functional and useful terrain to have on a gaming board, maybe more so than some other Kill Team pieces that they've released. It sounds like the new kill zone that's set on Volcus is aimed to be a bit more of a close confined city fight. So maybe not too surprising that they've gone fairly heavy on the terrain pieces here. As it goes, I feel like this will actually be really quite a major draw to the box. Any one box set of 40k Kill Team people might well cost less than you expect for Games Workshop plastic terrain. I'm sure there'll be some people buying the box set primarily for this, and could be one to look out for going a bit cheaper on eBay if there's people who have wound up picking up the box set for the teams. Otherwise, for plastic bits, there's a good bunch of sort of physical assets for the kill teams. Kill teams have been able to set up barricades before, but on top of that, they've got things like ladders, smoke bombs, and grenades, and barbed wire and bits now. Interesting enough to have them expand that, though I suppose it does mean that they might be trying to sell a bunch of these physical bits to go alongside the launch as other things that you need to play the edition, which could be a little bit more fiddly. I still think that the idea of them is kind of fun, plus they have all the normal Kill Team tokens for the 2 Kill Teams on offer in the box. Then we've got the actual Kill Team books, both a core rules manual for the new edition and then the Hivestorm dossier, which has the focus on the Stingwings and the Aquilons. As this one's pretty much the launch box for the new edition, it's basically got everything that you need to play. I'd imagine that this is going to be in far greater supply than the majority of Kill Team releases that we've seen over the past year or two. As mentioned, the setting of the new edition is on Volcus. They've given us a few updates as to the lore recently. It's an Imperial world in the Charanoth Expanse, dominated by an enormous Great Imperial superweapon, which most of the locals refer to simply as the Great Gun, a planetary defense cannon that's capable of taking down enemy fleets. There's a sort of cult of pseudo-worship of this great thing, and producing and firing the ammunition for it, as you'd expect from Imperial weirdness, I guess. It sounds like the other factions that are fighting in the area are all trying to either neutralize it or grab it for themselves. Shadowsun sent the Vespid and it looks like some Pathfinders in to try and neutralize the weapon. The Imperium drew Tempestus Aquilons away from the Agri world that was about to fall, and have sent them to reinforce and stop it. It sounds like even the Orcs are going to be getting in on the action. It sounded like there were some commandos trying to sneak up on it. No idea whether or not that's actually going to be aimed to be another Kill Team release of some sort for the Orcs, or whether or not it's just taking them into the new edition of Kill Team lore-wise. There were a few bits of new art as well of the new Scions facing off against the Vespid amidst the spires and hives of Volcus. Otherwise, for the actual rules of the new edition, Games Workshop didn't share loads here, and to be honest, as a non-Kill Team expert, I really wouldn't be adding too much myself. It does look like the game is basically going to have a hard reset though, So basically new rules for every single kill team, and these ones are going to be available free and digital from day one, kind of similar to how the reboot of 40k 10th edition worked. The first season of this new one is going to be the dense city fight Volkers kind of terrain. All factions will have some generic equipment and upgrades that can be bought, as we saw with those barricades and things, though probably the thing that gave me the most interest was that it's got a co-op mode, 2 players versus some procedurally controlled and generated NPCs. Kind of fun to have a sort of player versus environment type mode and have for a 40k game where you're working together rather than working against each other. I kind of wonder if they might do that for more mainstream 40k at some point, maybe a bit like Warhammer's Horde mode. Apparently that mode sounds like it's also available to play solo as well, if you just want to roll some dice around and put your kill team on the table against some NPCs. Could be handy enough for a practice game, I guess, and not really something that you can do normally with 40k type games. In any case, looks like a fairly interesting release. I suspect the box set's probably going to be at least fairly popular. Given it's a new game edition, people really quite like the Tempestus Aquilons, and while the Vespid Stingwings might be a bit more niche appeal, I feel like the miniatures are pretty fun at least. Fingers crossed that Games Workshop can actually make enough of them for a change. Let me know your thoughts though. Would you be tempted to pick up Kill Team Hivestorm or not? Let me know your ideas down in the comments. If you've enjoyed the video, then feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics. I'll certainly keep the regular 40k news and updates coming. I do tend to post new things just about every day. Finally, if you have been enjoying all the videos on the channel, I would just like to mention that Auspex Tactics does have a Patreon page as well, and you can find that linked in the video description down below. Channel patrons do get a fair few advantages, seeing certain videos early, regular votes to see what sort of things happen next on the channel, and automatic entry into the regular prize giveaways with a chance to win some big model kits each month. If any of that sounds good to you, or you'd just like to help support, the link is down in the video description. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.